Hey guys, welcome back to She Became Me Vodcast. I'm your host, Lentina Rogers. Well, as we continue our theme for this year, Defining Moments, I would like to talk about the title of tonight's show, titled A Seat at the Table. So, we have a very dynamic young lady we will be speaking to tonight. So, let's get to it. Let me get my co host in. Let's welcome Ronika Howe.
Hello
Hey, Ronika.
there. How's it
Hey,
going?
man, it's going. I got so much going on. It's just been a rough week. What about you?
Same. It's been a long, productive month.
Yes. Oh, God, I feel you. So let's get Yolanda in and see how's it been going for her. So let's welcome Yolanda J. Brown.
Hey, Yolanda.
Hello.
Hey, Yolanda, how's it going? We just been talking about how rough this weekend month has been.
Well, it has been a very taxing month.
Okay.
But can I give a praise report?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm an Amazon best-selling author. I had a book
Congrats.
launch
Congratulations.
since we recorded last, so
Yes.
I'm happy about that. So
Congrats.
coming soon, coming soon.
Yes. Well, we excited for you and your new book project. So
Thank
yeah, I
you.
got my copy and I kind of read over yours, of course, and then I'm
Yes.
going to go back and read, some of the other ladies. But it looks very interesting and
Yes.
informative so far, what I've read.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it ties in with our topic
Of
for
today.
tonight.
Right,
Yes,
right. Okay.
yes, yes, yes. When we're talking about a seat at the table
Yes.
and resilience and staying power and keeping our seats, and our guest tonight, Jordan Coleman, is the dynamic CEO of A
Yes.
Seat at the Table, an organization that, well, I'm gonna let her tell that, but I'm gonna just tell you all a little bit about her. She is a native of Indianapolis. She graduated from Warren Central High School. She received her bachelor's degree from IUPUI in sociology and a master's degree from Indiana Wesleyan University in public administration with a concentration in nonprofit leadership, near and dear to my heart. Jordan formerly led the regional public affairs department at a prominent insurance company where she built community relationships, developed a volunteer portfolio, and generated annual fundraising. So she knows how to make money.
Yes.
During her career, she discovered her journey of finding her seat and voice at the table. It was met with opposition, discrimination, and denial of upward mobility. She found herself fighting for people of color, specifically women of color. Her journey helped her launch A Seat at the Table in 2018, where she helps women of color shatter the glass ceiling and challenge the systems that oppress them. The organization has hosted events in both Indiana and North Carolina, reaching over 700 women. She is dedicated to transforming any system that is intended to stifle, restrict, or withhold women of color. She has an amazing bio and resume. She's received several awards, including Junior Achievements Indy's Best and Brightest and Center for Leadership's Up and Coming Achievers Award. She also has served on committees and boards for March of Dimes, Indiana Children's Bureau, Junior Achievement, and Black Fathers Rock. She enjoys mentoring high school students in her spare time. And on top of that, she is a devoted wife and mother. Everyone, welcome Jordan Coleman.
What's
Hi, hi
up?
Hey,
everybody.
Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you.
Oh, my. What an impressive bio that Yolanda just read about you. I mean, first of all, you look so young. I'm not sure you're old enough
Beautiful.
for all the stuff you've done. I know it's not polite to ask a woman her age, but hey, you look like you
Right.
teenager almost.
I wish. I wish. Double the number. Double the number.
Okay, Jordan. So how exciting a seat at the table. I mean, what a great name for organization. So can you tell us and our viewers a little bit, how did you come up with that title and what kind of led you to create this space? particularly for
Yes.
Black women?
Sure. So, funny thing, when I was working, I was at the National Urban League Conference. It was my very first one. And I remember having some difficult conversations with my leadership staff for the company I was working for, and really feeling like I was fighting for that space at the table. And I was in my hotel room, and the thing that came to me was a seat at the table. And so that stuck with me. And so, as I was going through all the sessions at the National Urban League Conference, I started to think I needed to stop complaining about it and do something about it. So that's exactly what I did. I created the initiative. It started off as just an initiative. I wasn't clear if I wanted it to be a nonprofit or for a profit, but we have now grown into a nonprofit entity serving our community.
Okay, wow. That's great that you made that decision because I'm sure that a lot of us, Black and brown women, have stories about the same situation where we feel hopeless. Um, and just like, where will we turn and what will we do? So, what is the main thing that your organization, how do you help women or what can they do to, like, if they, feel these things are happening to them in the workplace?
That's a great question. So, we have events. So, we host events in the community where we have conversations centered around different things that affect us as Black women and us as Black women at the table in corporate
Mhm.
America or government entities. And so, that's one space. It's a safe space where we have conversation, dialogue, panels that we can just lay it all out there. Our previous event was called Sis Exhale, where we talked about mental
Mhm.
health in the workplace,
Mhm.
mental health in our personal lives. And it
Right.
was a very robust conversation. We had doctors on the panel, therapists on the panel, and they really were able to dive in. Aside from that, we are stepping into the lane of advocacy. So we're working right now to do some things to help women navigate those difficult conversations. How do you send those difficult emails? What does that really look like? How do I stay professional, but also let you know I'm not the one to play with? And so bridging that gap and giving people those tools to really be successful is a part of the work that we're doing.
Wow, that's wonderful. Because I too struggled with those type of questions and dead ends. And I had a position where I had a position. I was the first and the only Black female in a position, and I did not at that time. I was very young. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a mentor, and this is great what you have. So, because that made me think about that. I could have had somewhere to turn to say, how do I, have those conversations and be professional? Because it actually stressed me out so bad it became physically harmful. I actually quit, and I often think about that. That was that the right thing to do, but that was 20 years ago. But what I realized is that it was the best thing for me for my physical health because
Yeah.
I just didn't have any support. So I'm so glad that you were here and you have created this space that women don't have to suffer. So we definitely want to help promote and push that and make it the awareness there so people will know where they can turn to.
Thank you. Yes, and I agree. I believe we suffered long enough. I've listened to my
Yes.
grandmother's stories and all the things that they have endured, and it's a long time coming. It's time for us to have those powerful seats at the table and really leverage our power to change these systems that are oppressing us. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
With all of
awesome.
us,
Oh, you go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just gonna say, I think with all of us having a seat at a table in like our various like the careers or organizations that we work for, a lot of times it's hard to with all of the emotions that come along with um, having that seat at the table. Sometimes you're made to feel like you don't know what you're talking about, or I always feel like you got to have to work like harder. What do you say to the woman that um, like how to handle those emotions and just not get bogged down on um, like you're not even worthy of being at that table. You know that you are, but you're made to feel like you're not even worthy to be at the table.
I think Ketanji Brown Jackson is a prime example of that. And she talked about this after she went through all of the things,
Yeah.
the interviews and just the scrutiny. She said she walked past a woman as she was walking in the garden, and the woman stopped her and told her to persevere. And it rang in my head over and over again because why do we have to go through these things? But the truth is, we really have to have that grit to persevere and just stay the course. There were many opportunities I had. I sat in a conference rooms, boardrooms where I was the most qualified in the role that I was in, but yet I kept being overlooked, overtalked, and overshadowed. But I showed up every day. I fought
Right.
every day. And so I think we have to have that grit just to stay in it. It's not going to always be easy, but hey, I believe it won't always be like this. So I just keep persevering through it. So I would tell any woman that's in this situation, it will get better. Find someone to rally around you, to vent to champion with, but you can get through it.
So are people able to, in general, like contact your organization for support?
Yes. So right now you can go to our website. There's a contact us portion on there if you need support with just corporate, navigating what corporations look like. What does corporate America look like? I need to send an email. I've gotten a lot of DMs with people saying, Jordan, can you help me navigate this conversation? I don't know how to handle it. So I'm here to provide that support. Now, I'm not the HR guru. I'm not a legal attorney, but I will give you the tools that I have used to be successful in that space to make sure that you can be successful too.
Okay.
It's good. It's so good. So I remember I came to a seat at the table, an event. It's had to be a couple of years ago. And what was so impactful for me was to see the varying generations in the room. And sometimes when I'm the mom of a millennial, and I often feel like I can't connect. Like I'm like
Yeah.
generationally, she believes that the way that I do business, the way that I do make decisions about like my career navigation is old school. It's old school, it's traditional. And she'll say in a minute, Mom, that's old school. That's an old way of thinking. That's not how we do things anymore. And so I really felt good to, real literally be sitting at a table with younger women who wanted to listen. And whether they were just obliging me, because
Right.
I want to tell the story about how I was called an auntie recently in DC, but I'm gonna let that go. I'm so bitter. Where they were just calling us aunties freely. But I really, I want to know your thoughts on, what do you believe were there particular seasoned women, if you will, who came alongside you, or do you find that um, more seasoned, established women are not as available as they could be for the younger generation to help them along, help them have a seat at the table, especially if they've already acquired one?
That's a great question. So I see that from a lot of different perspectives. One, I've had the opportunity to have some great seasoned women that have reached back, helped me. Carolyn Mosby is one of those people, Hope Hampton. They have all reached back, gave me the support that I need, the launching pad that I need to be successful. But I've also had the experience of those that don't want to help me. They sit in VP roles, and when I was working in corporations, and they wouldn't reach back. They would not mentor. They just flat out told me no because I was a threat to their seat. So that was a hard space to navigate. But when I created a seat at the table, I sincerely believed in the concept of the season teaching the unseasoned. That's how I like to put it, because
Mhm.
I don't have the wisdom that the season has. And if I can just sit at your feet and learn what you have been through, learn your history and learn your story, I can be more successful. So, I think it's important. I think it's a lost art as well. So when I came up, like I said, came up with this concept, it was partially that for the season to get something from the unseasoned and vice versa. So it was a give and take situation that we can support and lock arms and really grow together.
Oh, that's good. That is so,
Yeah.
so good. It's that reverse mentoring,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
um, and and I want to be clear that I know and recognize that I have as much to gain from the younger generation, just as much as I have to give, and I'm open to that. And I think it's important that seasoned women be open. And my last question for you is: how important are male allies in
Whew,
keeping and getting our seat?
That's good.
that
Okay.
is that is good. It's interesting because my husband and I have a conversation all the time about my fight in all of this. And he's like, Jordan, do you really think you can make a change? And I said, yeah, if people like you will stand up at the table for people like me. And I think that's true. I think, men are the ones in leadership positions a lot of times, and we need them to be advocates for us. We need them to protect us. We need them to support us. And so I do think they're important. It's just, I think it's hard. It's a hard concept, especially when you are looking at a white male versus a black male. That concept in itself is also hard to really get them to understand. Now, I will say my time in corporate, I had some great white male advocates that stood up for me, that supported me, but they're far and in between as well. I do recognize that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I often, wrestle with that as well. Back 20 years ago, I did not have um, the male support in my life that I think about now. If I would have had, I would have handled that situation differently.
Mhm.
That's why I said that's a good question, Yolanda, because I think that if we have that, be it a husband, a brother, a father, or uncle, or just a good friend, it's very important to have them support you emotionally and mentally and just reassure you that you're doing the right thing, help you decide how you want to present that and position yourself how you want to be received. So I think having a male perspective kind of help you look at what I'm doing, what am I projecting, how I'm
Mhm.
projecting it. I think is very helpful. So it's a good question. So at least you guys gonna address that as well, if and kind of help women say, what, get that male, in your life somewhere that can support you, because I think that'll help a lot.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Good.
Y'all have any more questions for Jordan before we jump over to Shemale?
Do
Oh
it.
my goodness. Well, I would like, Jordan to share because in your bio, I read that you're hosting, that you
Oh,
host events in Indiana and
yep.
North Carolina. So, what type of events do you do?
So we've had mental health events. We've had an event at the Vineyard where we recognize women of color. We recognize 6 women doing amazing things in the community, over 120 attendees. And so it was a wonderful event where we just came alongside. We had MC, DJ, cocktails, all of the things to celebrate Black women doing great things in the community. And so our goal is to continue our momentum and have events throughout the rest of this year and next year. We have an event coming up October the 8th. So more information will be on our website about that. But yeah, so we are digging our roots deep, not only in Indianapolis, but also in North Carolina and a few other places.
Okay. Well, just tell people how to find you, your social media, website, give all of your info.
Sure. So you can find us at our website, www.asatindy.com, well, .org, excuse me, or on Instagram, it's underscore seat at the table, or on Facebook at a seat at the table indie. And yeah, if you go to the website, you can click all of the links, they'll be there.
Okay.
Very wonderful.
Okay. So this next part of our show, Jordan, is called Shemale, and we just pretty much pick some questions that our audience sent in, and they want our opinion. So we all often, just invite the guests to give an opinion as well. So Yolanda, go ahead and give them the spiel.
Yes, we want our viewers, we want you to know that this part of our show, though we love the questions that we get from our viewers, just know that we are all professionals in our own right, but we do not profess to give you mental health advice or profess to be mental health professionals. Tina is. She's
Look, to
certified
a
and
degree.
yes, and working with individuals, but just know that these are just our opinions.
Okay. So let me pick some questions out, and let's see what they have tonight for us. Um let me see here. Okay. Well, these are very relevant to the subject.
Okay.
So I have been with my company 15 years and applied for a promotion recently. I was told to work on my executive presence. What do you recommend I do to prepare?
That's a
Hmm.
good question. You
I
know,
think the first,
I'm gonna
go
Uh,
start.
ahead.
Yes, no, go ahead.
go ahead, Jordan.
I I was going to say for me, the first thing that I would ask a follow up question on is what is my executive presence? Because that can be interpreted a lot of ways. If I'm a Black woman, I might not be fitting your idea of what my presence should be. I know I've experienced that, and I had a lot of friends experience that in corporate. That I may not look like, I may not sound like, I may not have the hair like the executive presence that you're searching for. So there needs to be clarity centered around that. Um, in feedback, that's my personal opinion.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I do think I was going to say executive presence is, somewhat one of those things is in the eye of the beholder. But at the same time, I do believe that there are just some women that I look at and I say, she's got it. Like, that's it. Like, I didn't even know what that term was. And until, well, within these past 6 months, actually, when someone used that term with me. And I had to go look it up. Like, well, what exactly does this mean? And I think that there are just some people who, um, command attention, they're dynamic, but it doesn't necessarily, there's a confidence, I believe, that comes with executive presence. Now, of course, because people have biases, kind of on the line of what you're saying, Jordan, that they may have some thoughts about in that particular environment what executive presence should look like. So I definitely encourage the individual to ask for input on and feedback on how she is perceived, because sometimes there are some implicit biases that come into play when it comes to someone's perception of one's executive presence.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you. When it comes to that, my first thought was define executive presence. And
Yes.
so again, like you both have said it, like um, yeah, I would just want feedback on like my executive presence, like how they already look at me, but then for them to further just break down, like to define that term.
Yeah. Um, that was good. I think we all can agree that one of the first things we want to know is, when you just put out a term, what does that term mean? What does that entail? The thing is, people can hide behind a lot of things, right? So
Hmm.
people can
Mm.
say
Mhm.
things that clearly don't match up. In my opinion, you can't expect people to just be cookie cutters and they're not you. They're not, a representative of you. They're representing themselves. I think variety is good. I think differences is good. The main thing I think a person should have, like Yolanda said, is confidence in what they're doing and what they're saying, good energy, originality, and just being authentic. Should just be, in my opinion, what it should be is an executive presence. Simple, authentic things, good energy, and a positive person. But of course, people will definitely use that term to hide behind biased things that they just looking for. So yeah, and we all know what they are, but we won't even have to talk about that.
Right.
So let's try. I think we got time for one more. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should. Okay. All right, let's try one more. Okay. Um, I feel like I am stuck personally and professionally. How can I regain motivation and bounce back after isolating myself for so long? What y'all thinking about that? How can I bounce back after isolating myself for so long? And the viewer is saying, I feel like I'm stuck personally and professionally. Y'all got some advice?
I would say, um, first off, like isolation is always the worst place to be when you're going through things. So my first suggestion would be to get around um, like people who are excelling in what they are doing. Um, like even there's like events that you can attend, or just like a day out with like some close girlfriends or colleagues, just to kind of help you get out of that slump. And I'm sure that all of us have been there at some moment, because I know that I have had burnout before. And the first thing that I would tend to do is just kind of like isolate myself. But then it's just not a good space to be, especially when you are wanting to move forward and to get out of that. It's kind of hard to dig out of a hole when it's just you by yourself in the first place. So my suggestion would be just to just surround yourself with those who love and sincerely care about you, and will help you pull you out of that season that you're in, and that can pour into you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Definitely.
personally in this season last year, so I can identify very well to what this person is saying. But it's a conscious effort. You have to get up, and I told myself that, like, girl, get up. You got things to do, people to see, and people to help. You got to get up, and it literally became a motivation for me every day. I was getting up. I was listening to motivational speeches, things that encourage me, and like she said, I surrounded myself with people that I knew were good for me and good in helping me get out of this stuck place. And so it's a choice. And I know sometimes people are like, it's not a choice. I'm here. It's depression, it's things, but it's depression. It's you have to get up and you have to help yourself in this moment and realize that you don't have to be isolated if you make a conscious choice to move out of that space.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Go ahead, Yolanda. Yolanda, can you?
I
You're good.
think, the main thing is just really figuring out what it is that brings you joy. What is it? I'm a list maker. So I've been in this place of really having to figure out what is it that will help me get my thoughts out when I lose momentum, when I lose feelings that fill my cup. We talk about filling our cups, on through our She Became Me platform. And I think journaling is key. And getting your thoughts out is so important. And even seeking professional help if you need to.
Yeah. Definitely. So often people, just kind of turn away from professional help. It's a certain amount of shame that people are still carrying around about doing that. I would definitely say that would be an option. The other thing is kind of like Jordan said, the isolation is the beginning of depression. You can very easily slip into depression because it starts with isolation. It's okay to be alone and to have a long time and recharge time, but that should be a short period of time. If you're isolating for long periods of time, that's not good. Hopefully, people around you, your loved ones, will notice and kind of invite you out. Another thing is, like Yolanda said, make a list of the things that you enjoy, what makes you happy. Because if you always go back to the thing that makes you happy and brings you joy, it'll kind of snap you out. But you gotta like identify, you gotta label, and you gotta understand what are those things. And you gotta know what those things are. Those are the things that help define you. So if you don't know those things, I'm gonna suggest, that would be the main thing you need to do to bounce back. Figure out and identify and label what makes me happy and do those things often.
That's good.
So
Definitely.
you ladies have anything else for Jordan?
Jordan, just any closing thoughts on a seat at the table?
Yes, so I want to thank you guys for this opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it and have enjoyed our time. Please be sure to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we would love to connect with you. We would love to see you at our upcoming events. and just supporting the overall mission. I also like to say we are open to everyone. So allies are welcome to our events. If you are wanting to support women of color, we want you there. So thank you again.
Okay, that is great, Jordan. We really enjoyed this conversation. I'm definitely going to look into, a little deeper and try to connect with your organization. So,
Yeah.
Rodnika, you guys want to go ahead and kind of let people know where they can
Yes.
write in
So
and all that?
to our audience, thank you for tuning in with us today. If you are interested in having your questions answered right here on our show, be sure to submit those to she became me 2020 at gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay in the know of what's coming up next with the She Became Me movement.
Yes, and we would definitely like to thank you, Jordan, for joining us. We would like to also um, congratulate all of the nominees, that were acknowledged through your efforts with the recent A Seat at the Table event. And we just want to encourage you to keep going and keep fighting for us. And we just wish you
Yes.
continued success. And we want to give a shout out to Enhanced DNA Publishing, Danola Burton, who was one of those nominees.
Yeah,
Yes.
Danola.
Keep
And we
doing
want and
the
we want to
good
thank
work.
Danola for sponsoring this podcast. Danola is sponsor for She Became Me Vodcast. So we also want to give her a shout out for that, for believing in us and supporting us. And now what? Almost 2 years, right, ladies?
Yes, hard to believe.
I know time has really passed. So, Jordan, you got any last words before we sign off?
I do not. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to connecting with you ladies soon.
All
Thank
righty.
you. God bless you.
Okay. So, all right. So until next time, we'll see you.